Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show 250 with yours truly, the hippie pastor. That would be me. This is show 250, chapter 3, entitled Atheism and LSD. That'd be the title. So, as we left off in chapter 2, as you may recall, me and my friend, we used to get, on the weekends, we were 16 years old, something like that, 16. We used to get invest in some hashish. It cost $5, and we split it in half, and it would last us the whole weekend. But then we went to the hippie house where my friend would buy the hashish for $5, and they didn't have any, but they had LSD, lysergic acid. So they had LSD and they didn't have, and I was so upset because it was such a tiny, tiny little pill, and I told them, they robbed you. I mean, where's our hashish? How could you spend $5 on that tiny, tiny little pill? Whereupon my friend decided to tell me to trust him and to go to my house. We were going to divide it, split it in half, and then go out to our usual hangouts down on Main Street. But before I reveal to you what happened with the LSD, my father passed away, 2 years before that, and I was a Roman Catholic man. I was like really a believer of the Catholic religion. I was an altar boy, as you may recall, I think that was chapter 1. And I loved the Catholicism, the Catholic religion, the church, God. All that, I was God's servant as a young teenager. But when my father died, when I was like 14, I decided in my heart to become an atheist. I said, no more God for me. This is the way God pays me, my service for Him, my love for Him, taking away my father and destroying our family practically, because my mother sent me to live to my grandma's house in New York while she stayed in Peru, and so I didn't have no mom, no father. At the age of 15, my father dead. My mom sent us away to grandma's house. I joined the gang, the Victorians, and so I was an atheist. I hated God. I said, no, you betrayed me. I don't believe in you no more. I am a declared atheist, and that was the end of that. So my spiritual life took came to a halt, a stop. Okay? So anyway, so we go with my friend, we take the LSD tab, half and half, we ate, and we go to our usual haunts in Main Street, hang out with the club, with the people, with the Victorians, with our friends. I believe it was a Friday night. So we somehow got separated, me and my pal, and we had taken the LSD, but we got separated, each one hanging out with different people, because there was a lot of us. I mean, there was a lot of young people on Main Street. There was a lot of life in Bayshore, New York. We're talking like 1969-ish, there was a lot of life. There was life, there was growth, there was energy, there was economy, there was people, there was tourists, it was a hippie revolution. So we got separated, and all of a sudden, an hour went by. I didn't feel anything from the LSD. And I'm walking alone to go see some other friends near this church. And all of a sudden, I was like, holy shit. I was transported into a dimension. I could see the stars shining so bright. And I felt clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, the spirit of my father. I felt the presence of my deceased father right there with me, as clear as daylight. I mean, there was no doubt about it. I wasn't thinking about him. He just came. And all of a sudden, the effects of the LSD took me into the spirit world, is what really happened. And I got so scared because I didn't know where I was. I was in the spirit world. I was in another dimension. Oh boy, the LSD in those days was really something else. It was really some good shit, man, good stuff, I'm telling you. If I could rewind the clock, I'd do it again. Anyway, I got so scared, and I just I needed to find my buddy because he was experienced in this and I was not, So I was a rookie, an LSD rookie. He was an LSD experienced, guy. And so I saw him like far, far away, and I started calling his name and walking really fast where he was. He was like really far. It looked like, I don't know, like half a mile away. And I'm like walking fast and all of a sudden he's in my face. I mean, I lost the distance, this was some really trippy stuff, man. It was real hallucinogenic. And then we start walking. I'm like all excited. I'm telling him, hey man, I'm fucked up. I'm really tripping. I'm high as a kite. I felt my father. And then as we walk, a police car interrupts us, pulls up in front of us, and we stop. And my friend tells me to act normal, and just to stay there and stand there and wait and not say a word. And he went, and the cops called him specifically, and he went up to the cops, and there was a canine unit, and they had 2 German Shepherds in the back of the cop car, and the German Shepherds were barking and growling at us, and all of a sudden they turned into slow motion, like they're the barking of the dogs completely turned into slow motion, and he was like in another velocity. I mean, and I was trying to stand there and act normal, and then all of a sudden, and everything went slow. Like when let's say if you take a record and you make it really slow, and I'm trying to act normal and standing there, and then my friend finishes and he comes back, and I'm like, what the? Man, you don't know what I just saw. And he says, come on, man, let's keep on walking. And so we kept on walking, and I started to learn to control the high, and it was free flying from there with my relationship with LSD. Then we started selling LSD, like, Orange Sunshine, and we would buy like 200 tabs or something and sell it in the high school, and we were tripping. I mean, I was my whole 17-year-old, man. I was like tripped out on LSD. I was burnt out on hallucinogens, man, and we would do it a lot. I mean, I must have tripped like 200 times. I think I took LSD like 200 times. But I will tell you something, and record this in your mind. The first LSD experience that I just told you about, more or less, briefly, I could not say anymore that I was an atheist, because I felt the power of the universe. I felt the perfection of nature, the beauty of it all. I felt the spirit world. I felt my dad, died, but I felt his spirit. I could see in the spirit world, and LSD helps you. You can even read people's thoughts. It's amazing. You could read people's thoughts. You could hear a pin drop a few blocks away. I mean, it just puts your senses like totally tuned in. And I could feel the spirit world, and I don't care what happened, what hatred or bad thing I had with God, it instantly went away, because I could no longer say that I was an atheist. I hated Christians. I hated the Apostle Paul, because he said, somebody told me, he said that it's a shame to wear long hair, and we all had long hair. I hated the Apostle Paul with his condemnations and his, regulations of Christianity, and all these Christians, condemning you and pointing the finger and being so self-righteous and holier than thou. I hated Christians, and I hated Christianity, but I knew there was a God. There's a God in heaven and on earth, and he's alive. So I love you. We'll continue on chapter 4 soon. Bye-bye, baby.